So I know I was back too late, but turned out I did not have any food in the house. So I had to go to the shop. And I'm still eating. I should have said half an hour to begin with, of course. I'll turn on my mic after I finish eating. Okay? Right. I'm done eating, smacking, and chewing. Normally compile errors are easy, but what if F is this? I left this code in a state where it is using TLSL ID, well, prefix or whatever, while adding a uniform buffer. And the code that previously defined that thing is nowhere to be found. Well, there is a reference to an MGLSL ID prefix, what supposedly would be part of uniform buffer and or UniformBufferBase. Not part of uniform buffer, and the base has also not any TLSL ID string. We have members. I can extract it from the members. Maybe that was my intention. It's kind of stupid too. Maybe that was my intention. What is this doing here? What? Sometimes I run into stuff that I was sure that I deleted, and then suddenly it's back. Really weird. This doesn't make sense whatsoever. Add uniform buffer. It's completely broken. Okay. Well, actually what I'm writing right now is a part of the whole, of course, and that part is about generating all the details that you should not be bothered with as a user, I think. Let's say you write a game. Are you interested in which set it is stored or what binding it is using? No. You just want a texture. I have a texture. The texture is in that file. Please display it. No set numbers, no shader declarations, no binding numbers, etc. However, you want speed. And in order to get speed, it needs to be done correctly. And therefore this code is humongous complex. Everyone else in the world is just doing it manually. So maybe they are more an expert than me. They probably are. Definitely are. Like they wrote AAA games and they just know what they're doing. And they can do it manually and still have something fast without forgetting everything all the time. But I'd rather have my code do it, so I don't have to remember anything. And I still want the speed, so it has to do it optimally, correctly. This is almost painful. How do I get my GLSL ID while I already have my UniformBufferBase? Maybe I should start coding again like I normally do. That is assuming that things already work. In other words, hey, I have my uniform buffer, therefore I have my GLSL ID string. Ta-da! That's how it should work anyway. But then I need it again here, which is annoying. This is super annoying. Because I thought I already deleted it and fixed it. Sure, I fixed it. Okay, so the shader resource takes a string. And the key of the GLSL ID to shader resource is probably also a string. Yep. So I just need to add this function, which should return a string or a string const reference, but probably string. Yeah, before adding anything to the to the members, but it's a bit vague. So members are added to by calling. That's what you get with not having any const here. At least I thought there would not be no const. There's a const here. Why is there a const here? I'm going to run into that. I think that at some point it's being added by calling add member or something like that. Oops, what the hell? Delete, open, add members. I think it was even. Add members is adding stuff to member or not members pointer. Still setting this. Nope, that's not it. It's early. It's initialized by the constructor even, so it's impossible, basically. Yeah. Uniform buffers must contain data. It's contain a struct with at least one member, referring to the macro that I'm using to fill that. Assert, and then what's it called? I guess members. It's not empty. UniformBufferBase members. So member container type, which is a map. Must have at least one member. Okay, and then we get a first member. So that would be a resource. Oops, a ShaderResourceMember. And I don't need to. Oops, I don't need to change it. Member's local variable is, well, so that would be m members, and then begin, because we have something. Second, I think that should work, and then I get this, and then that has a, don't tell me this does not have a DLSL string. Oh, it's probably stored in the shader variable. Shader variable even gives me a prefix. How awesome. So just, we have at least one member, and the prefix of every member is the same, so I just return the prefix of the first member. And then I implemented this GLSL ID function here. But I need it again, and I'm not sure if I want to do that. It returns a standard string, right? Also don't really want to make a copy of it. Ah, what the hell. GLSL ID. This is only executed once, so it's really stupid. Or maybe we should leave it to the compiler and just call it twice. Why not? Right, we created shader resource, and that is added to this map, and then must be inserted. We get a pointer, we add the members to that, which also adds the pointer to the members, and everyone is happy. Come on, make. Yep, we are fixing compile errors after a brain surgery of the code. That was so difficult that I really did not want to concentrate on anything that I thought would give compile errors. I thought, I'll see that later. Error, cannot initialize a parameter of type non-const with an R value of that is const. So members, uniform buffer members is returning a const pointer apparently. Should not do that. Yeah, I already said that. What is this const doing here? It's going to bite us. That was the biting. You mean the one from ID? Coding Man? Yes, I saw it. There's a YouTube about it. Hey, it compiles. I always find that painful. Suddenly I don't have anything to do anymore. Obviously it's not working, so what did I achieve in the past several hours? I removed the const there. Yeah, that was kind of, maybe I should use a mutable instead, but I don't know, not that many consts died. Then we get textures replaced by DLSLID full, okay. Yeah, that is the shader resource ID for a texture. Then we have a rename, I guess. No. Yeah, a rename. The map is now mapping DLSLID to shader resource and not full. Can be either prefix or full. In the case of texture, it is full. Then we get add members. Okay, I think another const died. There's a lot of lines are gone here. Alright, see, I'm doing the same thing. Well, no, I got. I don't have the DLSLD fulls anymore, but basically it's the same thing. It says it cannot be empty, and then I just extract the prefix from the first member. So now I do that inside this function. But there's not really much difference then. And this is just a rename, I guess. We must also call the add members. Oh right, I commented this out, but I didn't fix it. This is not good. Remind me, I have to fix this. Look at it again. Let me first look at the rest of the div. No, I'll edit it anyway. The rename, the full is removed, and yeah, that's about it. Again here. I have no idea what changed here. Oh, also the full. Add texture. Const disappeared. Here too. Well, this is just a comment anyway. Printing stuff changed. Is used in vanished. What? I moved it to its own file. ShaderResourceMember is now in its own file. It's hard to look at the div then. Where is that one character that is different? Oh, there. Members. Members is a pointer now. Right. Member rename to member index. Da 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 da. Nice words. Member. Set shader resource pointer. So part of the big plan. So I'm just skipping over that as I remember that. Okay, we have here the fake map, also part of the plan. Add a fake resource. Okay. Should be okay, as long as I have a GLSLID full string, which I have. It's in the fake member. UniformBuffer&lt string that I wrote that just a minute ago. Just printing stuff. Content types moved. Already at the end. There was a typo. Strange that that survived the commit. Yeah, it hasn't compiled in a while, I guess, so we just did commit it without trying to compile it. And here fix me is fixed. Hopefully. At least there is an implementation. So there was one thing I had to look at, that was an if 0. Where can I find that back? Yeah. So that's in the file. Which one is this? So the first file. VI. It seems that we have a crashed audio again. I don't know. I think this happens after add a certain file. Which file? Can we find that out? Yes, we can find that out. So if I'm fast enough. Except that probably it's not this one, and I play them in random order. That is an M player doing it. M player. That didn't work. But it's also not saying that it got stuck. So I guess it worked. Yeah, I think that is one file is not working, and so someday I have to figure out which one it is. This part, what is it doing? What was it doing? Something with members. We ran over all the members. The members are added. That's no longer necessary. Instead, I already have the members and I'm just calling add members here. I think this is correct, actually. Apart from that, I'm not adding them to mshader variables anymore. Oops. Yeah, add member is replaced, but I still have to add them to m variables, m shader variables. So somehow I have to run over all the members and then execute this line here. Well, my members are now part of this. I don't like that, calling that often, but this function is hard to find. Oh, I already have it. That one's better. Where's the F dots? Now we have a members, which is a pointer, but let me just run over iterators. Begin on that. Begin. Okay. Unequal members int. Plus plus. How shall I call this? Yeah, member, of course. Member, right? So auto. Member is members on equal int. Now I have a member, but what is it? It's a pair. Member pair. Maybe you should just do it like that anyway, you know. It even looks better. Okay, and then I have to push back m shader variables. That's just a pointer. Boom, 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 boom. Pointer. I'm using so much pointers that all the newbies should leave this channel and not look back, because it's really dirty. Oh, well, not really dirty, but difficult. Error prone. Use of undeclared identifier shader resource. Did you mean shader builder? Yes, I did. I did totally, absolutely. Shader builder, shader resource. Oh. Hello, Ricky from Piano Hub. I guess. Is that royalty-free music? Can I play that too? I like piano. Okay, what was the error? No matching member function for call to push back. This function not viable. No known conversion from standard pair is ha ha ha. Okay. Second. Still a pair. Ridiculous. And I thought I could avoid the pairs. It's not a pointer though. Does this compile? Nope. Did you mean dot? Yes. Just told you it's not a pointer. Told you before. Yes, I am also on IRC, like Barrett. And on Discord, and on, I don't know, all kinds of things. And I have multiple aliases. It compiles again. What the hell? And I looked at the get diff and it was also okay, and everything is okay. I don't know what to do. Shall I run it? Okay, now anti-climax. This runs and it crashes in immediately. But that is expected. Core dumps. The question is, where does it core dump? Well, it core dumps here. Paranoia, that's not good. So I was paranoid, and rightfully so. So you cannot be paranoid enough in this time of the World Economic Forum. What's in the name, right? Yeah, that's nasty. Paranoia means that I don't expect this to ever go wrong. In that case, it's not immediately clear, right, what is going on. It's also pretty early. Very early. Holy early. Have you ever seen something crash that early? It's like in this one page, it has crashed. Probably upon creation of my window. Thank you. Saying that I'm great at coding. What do you say in my query? Which query? Query on ISC? Sorry, I don't understand. Oh wait, Coding Man is someone else. They have the same color. How am I to see the difference? Yeah, Mr. Junior said you're great at coding, and then Coding Man said, what do you say about my query? Scroll up to Coding Man. Oh, I missed it. Well, as you can see my fast. Yeah, I told you I saw that on YouTube. That's written by ID, I thought. For, what is it? Doom or Quake? Quake probably. And then you say, the last one maybe. Okay, you said, yeah, I didn't read this one either. Just wondering if you don't mark functions as inline, they're supposed to be pushed into the call stack and initialize the required symbols like a small context switch on CPU. Cannot follow that. If you mark a function inline, then you tell the compiler that it's okay if it occurs several times. So it won't give you an error, a linker error. That's about it. The compiler decides if it's aligning it or not. And then you say, is it really worth it breaking every small part of code into functions? No, I never do that. I only make a function when, well, when you call it multiple times. And it smells like procedural coding. I like object-oriented. I'm not bothered by functions. Bothered by objects. Functions of objects, member functions are operators more. Operators that operate on your object. So if you have an object, the object has a state. You have a sort of a premises, or what is the right thing? What the state is, the possible states are not necessarily always consistent. Let's say you have X, Y, and Z floats in your object, but really the object is called plane. It's a plane in a, it's a point in a plane. Okay, it's called a point in plane, whatever. It contains X, Y, Z, and its possible values are any point in 3D space, but you know which plane it is. So then you have a lot of possible states that are not, should never happen. Let's put it that way. And then you should not add member functions that allow you to change X, Y, and Z independently, because that would be way too easy to break your premises, if that's the right word. Instead you add member functions that are an operator on your object that keep those premises true. So you can only change X, Y, and Z at the same time. So let's say, let's make it a circle. So you cannot make, you have X and Y, it must be on a circle. You cannot change X, just X. You always have to change Y as well. Well, not entirely true, but you get what I mean. So that's an operator. Operator could be rotate my point by X, by n degrees. And that holds for every object. So when would I add a function to my objects? Well, when it is needed to keep the state consistent. I see them as operators. Mr. Penfrog said, hello, I'm too developing game engine but using OpenGL. I want to use PhysX for collisions and other things. What do you think about PhysX, good or bad? I have no opinion because I'm not using it, and I'm far from that point. If I ever reach it, I doubt it. Probably will write my own physics thing, knowing myself, if I would ever do this or use it. Right, that answered. I'm up to date, I think. Caught up with the chat. Why does this happen? Let's run it in the debugger. Man, when I said it will immediately crash, I didn't mean without within one page of debug output. It's an interesting type, you have to admit that. It says that member index must be less than the size of M members. And it's not printing it in a way that I say, yes, that is the member index. But let's say this is the member index, it's 0. Now let's just print it. Now it's going to say, what's it going to say? Optimized out. No, it's printing it. Awesome. Okay, so apparently M members is empty. A map is 0 elements. Well, that should never happen. Nevertheless, it would be interesting to see where we are coming from. And we are coming from something that even debugger cannot demangle, apparently. Nobody knows where we come from. Well, we come from here. That's not interesting. Which is being called from here with the same problem, which is being called from there. Okay. If you do not understand, type up. Okay, yeah, that's a constructor. In other words, we are constructing window, which is using window synchronous window of the base class as its constructor, as in using synchronous window. But despite that it is using the constructor of the base class, it has its own members, which are then the constructed with the default constructors. One of them being a uniform buffer. A uniform buffer with top position. This is it. With the template argument. And I would almost say, of course, members is empty at that moment. What was members again? Right there. Okay, let's have a look at this. What the hell is going on here? Oh, okay. We never saw that. The trick was it says vector resized, and afterwards I changed it in the map and I left the assert in. Let's try it again. It was just old code. Old paranoid. 666%. But it compiles. I hope. Never say it compiles at 100%, but this time it worked. Let not run it in the debugger, just run it here. Now we saw a window. And this is a perfect crash. Unexpected write brace. So it simply is not able to compile my shader. Haha. Let's have a look at what the problem was. This is thread pool 3, which is orange. So you scroll up to something orange. Oh, it's a long time. It had to think a very long time about this. Because this is orange. Compiling, there it is. So it's compiling this and it says I don't understand line 4. And the reason is obviously that it doesn't understand a struct with no members. And it has no members because I didn't generate the members. But now I can. After today, how many hours? Many hours. We finally understand the problem. Generate. Well, maybe not like that. Generate in something that has to do with shader resource, this one. Shader resource, okay, texture is one thing, and then we have here the uniform buffer. And this writes struct. And here's the closing brace. And the reason it errors is because I'm not printing any member. Let's print the members. The members are going to be printed. How do I get my member? Well, it was today that I added the members somewhere. The only question left is, where are they? That is a problem. I have a shader resource and that's about it, I think. That's about it. That's not good. It is good. Shader resource has members. Yeah. Oh, there was a moment today. There was a short moment that I understood my own code. And that's when I wrote this. So now it should be all okay. I did understand it and I thought I had a solution. So the solution should be right here. Prefix, I don't know, let's paste it somewhere. So we have members. I'm gonna do that a little bit down. Let's put it there. Struct, prefix. Maybe even that more down or not. What do you think? What's best? Okay, let's run over these things. How are we going to run over it? I'm really going to use iterators. Don't ask me why. Just feel like it. It's a const iterator. I don't even have to do that. You can just use auto. Auto member. I'll call it member, even though it's an iterator. And then we have members, which is a container type, pointer, begin. While a member is unequal is same thing, end. Next member. So now we run over all the members. And now all we have to do is print an indent followed by the type of the member, followed by the name of the member, followed by a semicolon, and then we're done, right? Here's an example. Right, so that's the point where you ask then what is that type of that member? Well, we can go to members container type. It is a shader resource stored in the order that they happen in the struct. So that's already taken care of. I think basically we have to print a basic type here. The basic type. Okay, I'm gonna back off. Do I have an access over basic type? That would be nice. I have no access over basic type. Let's add an access over basic type. Basic type is small, by the way. I think its size is like really small. So I can just pass it back by value. Well, let's extract my basic type. You get that from the member, which is an iterator, and then it's dereferences to a pair, and the second element is my the second element is my ShaderResourceMember, which now has basic type as a member function. Not an operator, an accessor. Hello, Mr. Medico da Peste. Did I say that right? And yes, I can see what you are saying. Although, you know, okay, so Codiman said, yeah, I know that, but whenever you can call a function, the execution goes to a new routine. In terms of the final machine code, so every time you use the setter, you are wasting a very small time. Setter? Well, the code that I'm writing now is speed is not important at all. It's just executing once. I think Demir. It's probably as wrong as I can get. OSS. Okay, what was the basic type? Was I have my basic type. Now I want to print it. No way I do not already have something that prints basic types, right? Man. Okay, let's say we have a vector, whatever. And I want to print it. Then it's going to need a string. The string says vec. I think the code simply must exist already somewhere. Just have to find it. So somewhere is a string called vec3, say. Or not. Just vec. That's better. Type name. Here, now we have strings. There's only a single line. Isn't that amazing? This is printing types. Type to name. Scalar index. Rows and calls. Maybe I have even more powerful stuff that is using that. Yeah, the vertex attribute declaration does already print it. So this is how it should be done. Basic type dot scalar type, basic type dot rows, basic type dot calls. Followed by the name. Well, not sure about that. Yeah. So that's how we do it. And this includes nothing ish. Hopefully it was here, but I'm not sure. Probably not. Generate, yeah, looks good. Totally. Okay, let's print the type. To this. And then basic type dot, what was it? Scalar type? Scalar index. Scalar index? Nope. Is it scalar? Also not. So I haven't got what it was. Fortunately, I can peek here. Scalar underscore type. And rows and calls. Damn it. Sometimes I call it type and other times I call it index. Okay, and that prints the type, and then we follow that by I guess a space or something. And then we print the name, which is equal to the member name of definitely should get it out of members somehow. Sorry, member. So again, member comes from members, which comes from container type, which is the ShaderResourceMember, which is simply derived from shader variable, which has a member name. Ta-da! Member name on that object is what I need. So that was second, the member name. Class member cannot be redeclared. Oh, I did already have accessors. I thought I didn't see it, so I added it as a private accessor. At the wrong place. Okay, make the dot operator is not an operator. Just accesses the member of whatever you have. So object dot and then the member, a member of a. And we crash in a totally different way. Isn't it beautiful? AI alert failed to compile. Okay, I think that we succeeded. It generated now mod 2x2, unused 1, float x, left position mod 4x4. Maybe I should not print the x4, although I think it works. Might as well. Fact 2 unused float, so it's perfect, except that after that I'm doing it again. Fix me, this should be generated, and I'm doing it again, and that's the problem that it has. So I'm just going to remove all the manually added stuff. All my everything is in this directory. I don't know where to. Which one shall we change? Tests cd uniform buffers vi window.h grab GLSL, and then fix me, this should be generated, and from now on it is. Well, maybe I shouldn't delete it because it tells me what it should be. It's definitely not already. Well, this works. This pretty much works. But this I'm not so sure about, so let me comment that out. And keep the fix me, this should be generated. Actually, I commented it out, so just remove. Okay, and then here we have another problem because I'm using top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that's not going to exist, of course. Let me first see if I have another one. I definitely have multiple of these things, right? This is vertex shader number 1. So this can be deleted, and then I comment this one out. Not all. Right. And the fragment shaders are already stripped. This also should just be removed. And this fragment shader here also. I see the texture should already work. I'm using texture :vort 3, and that should be replaced with the correct thing. But here it's still commented out, and I'm just using the manual result that I want to get. Basically nothing is going to work. Lots of chat today. Oh, lots of chat. I missed a lot. Yeah, 10:31. Demir said dot stage flags that's called, what's it called? I have no memory really. And I think designated initializer. I think that's C++20. It's not as useful as it looks either. And then you ask, what does the dot operator do in there? I missed that. Yeah, the dot is part of the new way to do the designated initialization. So it also means member. The stage flags member. But I'm gonna do a tutorial. Why? I've never done that before on my stream. So if you have some struct which has no constructor and only public elements, I don't know, max, full, I'm not even sure if that works. Then you can write code like well, let's make a function that takes a full. Void f full. If I call f here and I have to pass a full, then of course you could already do make a temporary, and then call a constructor. And if the thing does not have a constructor, then you would just use an I don't even know if that works anymore. C++11 or 17. Sorry, in A, of course. A. So I have to pass A. So initialize X and then initialize full. with let's say a default constructed for here also. So that was old. And then it changed stuff that this is a bit, you know, sometimes it could be a function and it's possible to get confused. So you can also do that. You can also pass an initializer list. So foo is actually an A, so I might as well say pass an initializer list, and then it understands that this is actually the start of constructing an A, this A here. And then the 42 and the foo are initializer lists of this. So the first element is the first element of A, and the second thing is the second element of A. And don't need to add foo here, because if you set just two braces, then it understands that you want to construct a foo, because it maps to that. But now suppose I have an int y here in between, and I do not want to mention that. If I do want, I have to pass a y, right? But I don't want to do that. Then the new trick is you tell it. It must still be the same order, but you can just tell it. So the first one is x, and the second one is actually foo. But this only works when so you don't have the y now. Now y is uninitialized, but if say this thing would be initialized like this as a default constructor, even if it's an int, y is now 0. Or if you put the 13 here, y is 13, even though you don't pass it here. If you have it like this, then it's uninitialized. Not for foo, of course. If you would leave out foo, let's say I would do this. Then y is 0 and x is 42, and foo is default constructor. So it could still be contain uninitialized stuff, but that depends on foo then. So that's a new notation. The big problem that I have with it is that as soon as you add a constructor, anything, and then doesn't work anymore. It's not allowed. You cannot mix it with constructors. You cannot even mix it with with base clauses. So if you have this is derived from B, and B contains nothing, the memory layout doesn't even change of A, then it's still not allowed to do it. It must be almost a POD. Well, I don't think that foo can have a constructor, I think, but for the rest it must be public and no constructor. Reading chat, yeah, it seems like we were the structs but not classes. Yeah, these classes are private by default, so you put public in front of it, and that works as well. The ugly thing. Yeah, what Coding Man says gives us example also int x and then between braces 10. Something I really like is that you can include that you can use the constructors of base classes. So do this again. Say you have a struct B, which is very difficult, and it has a lot of complex constructors. So more complex than this is not possible, of course. And then multiple of them. And then you have A, which is derived from B. Then you would have to repeat. Say this one adds an X. But in order to now we want this private. So it's in to make it public. In order to make this work, you would have to do something like A. So you have only int and float, right? So you have to pass it as well. So you must do int and float f. Pass that to b, right? And if b has a lot of them with all kinds of different arguments, and you would have to duplicate literally. Well, you don't change anything, because you say you always want x. I call them usually member x. Let's say x must always be initialized with 0. mx. And you still have to repeat all those base class constructors here for a as well. But what you can do now is you add here of 0. 0 would be like this even, but say you want it always to be initialized with 13. Then step 1, you don't need this anymore. This still works. Step 2, you don't even need to repeat them. You just say using b, done. You have all the constructors of b. Plus an extra thing that is initialized. So combining this with that is super handy sometimes, I think. Okay, what was going on? I don't know, I did something, I run make probably, and it's still crashing. Different crash, no, still looks like it's still complaining about swivels, whatever that is. How does my code now look like? There it is. This looks good, except for the X4, but it's not complaining about it, so I suppose that works, right? Of course it works. Now, that is my new variable, and instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, what did you call it? Left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's now call that. Yeah, fireworks. I think, well, let's shoot them. Okay, let's see. If they're over 18, shoot them. Yippee. It's 10 to 11. It should be silent. Kids are sleeping. Police is doing nothing, of course. But it's not the first time. I don't know. Multiple times a week, some idiots are firing off fireworks. This now must be used. Pretty sure the declarations are correct. Note also that for the top is put in set 0 binding 0, and top also contains a texture. So we need to see set 0 binding 1 somewhere in the fragment shader. Not sure if it prints that. This is I'm GU. Yeah, here's a fragment shader. No, it's still IMQ. Didn't get to that. Let's have a closer look. It just simply says it does not know what top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. is. Okay. That makes sense, so I have to fix that. Then we get lots of really weird errors. Line 50 and on. Something about vector swizzle. And top position vector swizzle. Never mind. The errors are not interesting. I just have to produce the same code as I already had manually. So right now I have top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that has been replaced by something else. It replaces by this. U top position underscore X. I don't think so. What did that come from? Oh, right. That's what should have gone here, I think. This random name is not what I wanted. It doesn't really matter, of course, because it's just nobody should look at it, but I'm looking at it now. You're looking at it. Yeah, we have more fireworks. One of these days I'm going outside. Mr. Cookie Games. Well, thank you. Okay, so I'm excessively sensitive to sounds. I just cannot stand this. So I'm going to turn off my microphone so I don't have to hear it. And then of course they stop again. I'll do that next time. I continue talking, but I don't want to hear it. Let's think for a second. This is in generate again. Yeah. Prefix hash. So the alternative was, because apparently I already did that, it showed up in the code, to call this u underscore top position. Because the string top position is unique already. I have one declaration per prefix, which is the top position. So I could call my variables like this, and that might be slightly better to understand. I don't know why, but let's just do that. So I get u underscore and then no prefix hash, which then can be deleted. Prefix hash I don't need. Do I even need a prefix then? Yes, I do. This can be deleted. And here we need also the prefix. Right, and then the fuck, I hated that. I can't get my terminals confused. So then, yeah, especially like that. Yeah, now it should exist. There it is. So although it is a comment, I'm using top position underscore underscore x, and that then should be replaced by u underscore top position. So we just made of it. And then it gets nasty because next it says top position dot x. Well, I know where the x comes from. That's this x. But what's that? That's the only member we have. Why? Oh yes, of course. No, yeah, logical. No problem. Just have to do that. Although I thought it was M top position for some reason. And yeah, the 0 is gone, right? No zeros. I mean, no array yet. And this is going to be replaced by... Well, that then becomes u underscore left position dot m left position. It's a bit double. Y maybe you want to go back to the v. Okay, if I do that, then I cannot type it because then it's kind of random. Is it? No, it's not random. It's based on, it's a hash. Okay, so I might want to go back to that. And now I have bottom position twice. That doesn't add anything. Dot x. Anyway, that should be generated like this. Yep. I think I already decided. I want to go back. Where do I come from? Unfortunately, I already left that editor. Also, I don't know anymore where it was. What did I do wrong? It's a size type. The hash is a size type, obviously. I'm going to edit this again. I'm going to put well, maybe not. What undo? Top position is now apparently that is the hash of top position. Or not. What did I just copy? Oh. Damn it. I think I'm an idiot, although irrecoverable idiot. Of course I should have done. Left, bottom, top. Hopefully that worked. And then we do the same thing again, but then for something else, namely left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Bottom, top. Again bottom. What? Yeah, left. And then the last one is bottom, I suppose. Did I start with bottom? Bottom. Well, hopefully that works. Or not. Oh boy. top position. Compile. Is it amazing that if you make a random changes to the string that it still compiles? Totally not working. Oh, failed to compile. Oh, already thought. Still compile error. Well, okay. Right. Let's look how it looks now. Top position. Yes. Yes. Everything yes. And then we have here v42.m top position. v42.m top position. That works. .x should compile. v1003.m left position. Yep. Okay, what is the problem? I don't see a problem. Problem is line 54, bottom position, no such field in structure. Oh, there must be m underscore. So I did that wrong, I guess. Line 54. Nobody knows which one, but let's try them both. 54. This one, 54. Even better. That's a fragment shader. Yeah, I see it. M underscore. What are we crashing on now? I don't know. Let's run it in a debugger. this pointer is 0. Always annoying. I never did graphics really, so I don't have any experience with it. From the chat on IRC, my conclusion is that there is no good one. I mean, you could use Qt or something, but loads of people that really hate it. Just don't use the VX widget. Why is my this pointer 0? The history is empty. That's even better. P, I mean up. Top buffer hack 0 is apparently non-existent. I bet that top buffer is empty. No, it's not empty. What is going on? Still a lot. Oh, wow. Well, that looks good then. I mean, it's looking at this. This was top buffer. So whatever it is, it has to do with top. And it contains top position unused 1. And top position X. So we have 2 members. Doesn't really seem wrong. So maybe the pointer is actually 0. What was I looking at? Oh, this pointer was 0. Super strange. Zero. What is the type of this thing? Huh? Oh, like that. Yeah, okay. Right, this has nothing to do with declaration that I worked on. The actual uniform buffers is what is being accessed. It looks like I'm accessing a map, but I'm not. I'm calling an operator square brackets on this object. And that accesses this thing here, which is a vector. And it is empty. So I was correct. I said, I bet it is empty. It was just a little bit buried deeper. So the problem is that this thing here is empty. And the reason that that is empty is because we didn't call a certain function, apparently. Okay, so we have something called this, and it is declared here. And that makes it empty, so it must be filled. It's filled by this function here, create, calling create, fills it. It even says so, this comment. I mean, now you have to believe me. Use create to initialize uniform buffers. So we can create all you want here, but you have to call create. The question is, why did I do that in the past and now I'm no longer doing it? It's not a matter of like, oh, clearly that function has not been called, so I'm calling it. No. We have to find out why it is no longer being called. That's totally different. Because it used to be called. So here are my operators that are accessing that thing. Right, so is it not called at all anymore, or do we not reach that point? Well, if I rename it and we get a compile error, then it is still being called from somewhere. And this. So, or not. This is the definition. Oopsies. Okay, let's try it again. This is so weird. Normally it went like to 98%. Oh, thank God. That explains it. So I see 68%. Normally we go to 98%, and then we are there and links and stuff. The reason now we saw the hang on the 68% is because of another test application, I guess. But really we hang pretty fast, and well, here no member name create. Okay, so this is where this is called, or should be called, and that's create uniform buffers. Well, that definitely should still be called. Definitely should still be called. Something really weird is going on. I think I should add an assert for that, because it seems like a common mistake. I think this is the only place that I'm calling create. Let's say I do F0. I think it is because it's the only test application that uses the uniform buffer. So if I were to forget that, I'm going to rename this back. If you forget to call UniformBuffer_create, then we crash where we crash now, which was it's not clear. Pure horror. Don't tell me you have to run it in a debugger again just to find that. Nah, that was in the neighborhood of something with a pointer, but I don't know anymore what it exactly was. No, that doesn't look good. A different crash. Oh, it is here. Huh? So weird. I'm still going to do it. I'm going to add it to, well, not like that. I'm going to add it to this function, I think. Okay. I'm pretty sure we get here. Debug. What happened? We never got there. Okay, we never get there, apparently. Create uniform buffers is not called. Impossible. Impossible, of course. It's impossible. Not called. Ah, yeah, indeed, it's not called. Commented out with an assert. Problem is that we crash before we even crash on the assert. How interesting is that? That's in initialize X. Okay. I think this can be removed now. Right, well, not crashing on that assert means that the question is, do we get here? Well, yes, we are getting here. That would be like so ridiculous if we didn't get there. Muck. No. Let's try and make. UBT. Do we get there? Good. Do we get it twice? We even get it twice. But that's a different thread, right? This is threadball 2 and 0. La la la. Let's follow threadball 0. It says, hey, I found code that has to be compiled. Found more code. And then they will run 2 threads at exactly the same time. Yeah, it's compiling both things at the same time. Well. So threadball 0 says compiling this. Threadball 2 says compiling this. And then threadball 3 is running because the other two are very busy compiling shaders. And one was also wants to do something. Upload texture. Okay, texture has to be uploaded to the GPU apparently. So 3 and 1 do stuff. And then 1 starts to also compile stuff. Found code. And it starts to compile that. And we have only 4 threads at the moment. I have 32, but it is complex enough as it is. So now only threadball 3 is still not busy compiling stuff. It does a lot of stuff. I don't know what. I don't think it will compile stuff because it's reserved for it was uploading something. Threadball 1 is finished, Threadball 2 is finished. Created object IMG. That cannot go wrong. IMG is the 3 mains working. Start to compile again, something else of IMG. Threadball 0 finished with compiling. Created object. Find some fragment shaders. Now it simply coordinates on not being able to compile something. I don't know. That's not the bug that I was looking for. I should have jumped to the end immediately. Right. This is Threadpool 2. And line 13 and Threadpool 2 was compiling this. Line 13. Here, and it says I don't know what texture is. Well, I can imagine. Totally imagine that. So why was it not replaced? That is a big question. That is weird. That is weird. Especially since it used to work. Compiling. It's also not generated a declaration, so it's not just that it didn't replace it. It just didn't find it at all. There's no declarations added. You would think that this string is simply not added to mshader variables. Aha. You know, that might be exactly it. No, it is added. That is, I'm adding a pointer to a ShaderResourceMember that we find in as the first element of texture members. And that has been filled in the constructor of texture. It's at least a change of today. Like here. And that should have the full DLSLID string, which is made here. So it should be correct. That should be correct. Really weird. Well, I guess that at the very least I have to print it out. You know, the out tc always adding to mg variables. And then I just pretend that I can print everything. And then I mean everything. And hey, I can. So now we have something like this string in the debug output. Well, the mglslid full is so that might be why it's not working. I think I misstepped, or what is it in English? A pointer thing here. It looks like it's a pointer to something that was deleted. That is not good. That is very bad. But I think I'm going to bed. It's late-ish and stuff, and I've done this the whole day. Like the whole day. Didn't I? No, I started in the afternoon. But then the whole afternoon and the whole evening. So let's find out tomorrow why this string is not texture :3 like it says here. Why I'm not even pointing to this? I mean, this one exists. Might as well have this thing point to that, which still exists. Which apparently we have access to through ShaderResource. Of course. At some point I thought that it didn't have it, but or not. Okay, I'm confused. Anyway, I think that's what I should do. Yeah. Instead of yeah, well, I don't know. This saga, what is it? Continues. I can continue. Can continue till I drop dead, but I'm going to sleep instead. Never ending story. I must say I'm getting tired of the whole descriptor set thing. This takes way too long. This way I will not get to anything useful if it goes this slow. Kind of sucks. That's why I'm working so hard, I think, to have some progress, but still. I'll be back tomorrow. No, yeah, I will, but not. There's a birthday to be celebrated, so it might be later than normal.